Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings. Today you join me back on the Cotswold Way. We're back here in the lovely little Cotswold hamlet of Stanway, where we rejoin the Cotswold Way path, making our way to the fantastic Cotswold town of Broadway. We'll be going to Church Stanway en route and also exploring the delightful village of Stanton. So why not join me and come and follow me on this fantastic national trail here in the Cotswolds to explore the delights of this terrific area. Good morning, hope you're all well. Joining me, well, I'll say good morning, you might be watching this in the afternoon or evening. Wherever, what time of day it is you're watching this, if it's the other side of the world, welcome to the Cotswold Way, part 9. This is the penultimate one on the northern section here. We're now going to be heading up to fantastic town of Broadway, and part 10 will be Broadway to Chipping Camden. So that'll be the completing our journey, but of course it won't be the end of the Cotswold Way because we'll then be heading south. Anyway, nothing that all lies in the future, concentrating on today. I've just heard steam trains running. We're not far from Toddington, which is the centre of the Gloucestershire-Warwickshire Railway, which I spoke about last time, so they are indeed running today. Join me on glorious weather. Blue sky morning, just gone 9 o'clock here, set off from home and made it back to Stanway. I've parked up, did a little piece of camera, a little introduction there for you. I haven't got my tripod with me today, I've kept it in the car because it's just too bulky to carry. We have got a lot of miles to cover today, so I'm very conscious of that. It's a lot cooler than it has been. At the moment I think we're about 16 degrees. It will of course warm up as the day progresses. And as we go on our route, I'll tell you some more about the villages on the way, and also tell you a bit more about that last little film that I uploaded, when was it? Yesterday, last night. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Anyway, fantastic here. I'll just do a pan round for you. Yes, the trees in the background. If you remember last time we played our game, Name That Tree, we'll be playing it later on, hopefully. Got time, got my book with me. Yeah, it's another lime grove. Obviously those were been planted probably maybe 10 years ago, and framing the field here absolutely gloriously. And it feels so Cotswold here with all this sheep, the buying of the sheep around me, which just sums up the Cotswolds. I mean, the sheep is the emblem of the Cotswolds area of outstanding national beauty. That's their emblem, is the head of a Cotswold sheep, and it really sums up this area. There we go, you can hear them all in the background. They're staring at me as I'm talking to the camera at the moment, wondering what on earth I'm doing, I would imagine. It is, every time you get the best angle to show you, it's always in the worst angle in terms of the sun, and you get lens flare on it, which is really frustrating. So I've just moved it around. I just realised there was a bit of lens flare now you've got a bit of shadow, but nothing in life is perfect. Hey, anyway, make the most of it. Fantastic here. Yeah, it's beautiful morning, really nice crisp fresh air. We've had a few thunderstorms, that's why I haven't done the Cotswold Way for a couple of days, so we're back on the trail here again, ready to go. So we've got a lot of miles to cover today. Our first stop today is, we've just left Stanway, and our first stop is the delightful spot of Stanway itself, sometimes known as Church Stanway to avoid confusion, and that's the one with the water spout, the giant water spout. But yeah, I've been doing some filming again recently. What have I done? I'm just trying to cast my mind back. I'll talk to you more about the one I just did yesterday down on the canal, but there was another one I did which escapes me at the moment. The trail up, a bit wider. Did the trail at Dundas Viaduct, and you may have noticed, or you may have picked up, that because it was very busy there, I did feel very self-conscious of filming there for a number of reasons. A, it was because it was so busy. sorry, there's horseflies again. And there was also lots of children around because it was the first day. The children had broken up, or first weekday. And because of that I did feel self-conscious with my camera there, and also felt slightly awkward doing pieces to camera. So hopefully I'm a little bit more relaxed today. I'm out here, there's no one around here. I'm in this field in the Cotswolds with just the sheep here for company. So yeah, I do apologise for that, but I wanted to cover that one. I think I replied to Carol and Derek. Hi Carol and Derek, new followers there. They've got their own channel, check it out. They do fantastic 4K footage of wonderful places in these parts around Worcestershire and into the Cotswolds and Gloucestershire. And they also, I think, have just covered Pembrokeshire as well recently. Just longer grass here, just trying to check out the route. Yeah, no obvious way, the grass hasn't been cut, so I'm just going to make a slight detour around this bit here. And yeah, I've got my socks tucked in now. Yeah, so yeah, welcome to Carol and Derek. That's really good. Thanks for your comments as well. I really appreciate it. So yeah, Dundas Viaduct is quite a tricksy place. Apart from it being busy, it's quite tricksy to get good shots of the aqueduct. Did I say a viaduct? I meant aqueduct. To get some really good shots of it, to get back, because obviously you're on it, you're on the towpath. You can't actually appreciate the stone splendour, that wonderful Bath stone there. Until you stand back and get it from a distance, but it's really difficult to get good shots of it. I know it's been filmed using a drone, and I don't have a drone, and I'm not really into drone photography. It's not, I'll cover that another time why I don't want to get into drone photography, but yeah, it's something that you do need to kind of stand back to really appreciate the beauty of that aqueduct. And yeah, just an amazing place. If not been, well worth going just to see the site of that stone aqueduct carrying the very busy Kennet and even canal above the valley there. Yes, the Dundas Viaduct one, I was also playing around with different styles of videography, and without getting too technical, I shot it in a cinema style. It's a different ratio. Normally ordinary widescreen pictures like the one you're viewing on there, and the size of probably the TV if you're viewing it on a TV or your laptop, is 16:9, which basically means it's 16 long by 9 high. That's the ratio, whichever size screen that is. And I was actually using a more cinema style ratio of 2:35.1. I cropped it in the when I was doing the editing, but also I was framing it each shot as well, so it was coming over the boundaries. So we're heading away down to Stanway then, glorious countryside here. The other thing I was doing different with that one was I was shot it on 50 frames per second, and the advantage of doing that is that oh, it's gone a bit dark. Yeah, 50 frames per second. The advantage to do that is you could slow down the footage without losing any resolution. Some of the shots were done at half speed. If you remember the swans, that was done at half speed. The only thing I don't like about 50 frames per second is when you haven't got a slowed down shot, it looks to me slightly unrealistic. It's more of a video type look to the image rather than a smoother cinema type. So I'm not convinced I would carry on using that. It also uses more data and takes longer to upload and process, but you don't want to know about all that stuff. But anyway, I was trying around with it. I may use it again. It depends on what I'm filming, but for ordinary vlogging, like doing the Cotswold Way, sticking to the old 25 frames per second and ordinary ratio format. So we're currently outside Stanway House, which is open to the public sometimes. I'm not sure what the situation has been post-COVID, but stunning, glorious. Just a couple of shots which I'll just insert right about now. Just seen around the back of the house at Stanway. As I say, it's closed at the moment, but looks like there's some event either getting ready to be done. There's some big canopies getting set up. I'm not sure if it's for a wedding, whether it's for an outdoor concert, or it's for filming, for a location film. I know it has been used for various costumey type dramas, that sort of thing. But interesting anyway, and I say check it out. I'll put in a link below so you can check out when it's open if you wish to visit Stanway House. Terrific trees in the park here, absolutely fantastic looking trees. I always think of them as like nature's sculptures, because although they haven't been carved by man, the way they've been grown just have those tremendous shapes, and I think that these trees have been chosen here to give a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing shape across Stanway Park, just outside the house here. Yeah, I was saying about the other video I've uploaded since I last done the Cotswold Way was a very short one. I think it's 3 minutes long, and it's down at Purton on I think it was originally called the Gloucester to Berkeley Canal, sometimes called the Gloucester Sharpness Canal or the Sharpness Ship Canal, whichever way you want to call it. It's a terrific canal. Anyway, I was down there. There's a reason I ended up down there, and it wasn't planned. I think I mentioned this in one of the comments earlier on, and how it happened was I was looking for somewhere else entirely. I have a look through travel guides to give me kind of flavours of places to visit, to show you, and I like to choose the less obvious ones, and I am conscious of the fact that Purton, those barges have been done many times before on YouTube. I'm fully aware of that, and I hadn't actually planned to do them, but what I'd found out, there is near Berkeley, not far from Purton, there is a hamlet called by the delightful name of Breadstone. Now, I don't know how it got its name, so don't ask. I've tried to find out. Very intrigued by that. And in this guidebook, which is I think it was about 15 years old, the guidebook, it recommended a visit to the church of Breadstone because it said it was entirely made of tin. And this really intrigued me. I was aware of the fact that the town where I'm living at the moment, Stonehouse in Gloucestershire, there used to be, I'm not sure if it was a Methodist church, not the one I covered with the garden, but there was another tin type church. I'll have to drop a link in below to get the denomination of which one it was, in Stonehouse. It was later rebuilt, purpose building, and that one was demolished. And so I was looking for this because there are very few around. Certainly that would have been the only one in Gloucestershire that I'm aware of. So I thought I'd go down to Breadstone and do a piece of camera there and walk around the graveyard and tell you a little bit about the hamlet and all that. That was a plan. It didn't work out that way. Got to Breadstone, and I've got an OS map, so I use the OS map. In fact, it's one I've recently purchased to that area. I think it was revised 2016, and OS maps don't get so revised so quickly as the Google ones, but they cover a lot more details I've explained previously. And I turned up at Breadstone trying to find this church. I couldn't find it, so I went onto the internet on my phone. There's a great website called Geograph, and on there photographers have pretty much photographed every corner of the UK. So if you put in a grid reference from a map, SO and then the 3 digits followed by the 3 digits, almost certainly there'll be a photograph, or probably many photographs, that come up of that area. So that's what I did. I got the grid reference, I put in the put it into the geograph, the reference of exactly where the church is on the map, on the OS map, and lo and behold, a photograph of the church did indeed come up. A tin church painted battleship grey, delightful windows set in its own land, with a white picket fence in front of it, right next to the road that leads down to Sharpness Docks. So I'm thinking, well, it must be here somewhere. So I found the picket fence, I found the road that I was on, and searched around. No church. In actual fact, what I did find was where the picket fence was, a brand new house has now been built in that location. So clearly and sadly to report that the church, the tin church, I think it was St Michael's in Breadstone, as far as I can tell, because there aren't many rights of way around Breadstone, and I did have a walk around and I certainly couldn't find it. It looks to me like it's been demolished, unless of course you know different, and if you know anything, can shed any light at all about the Church of Breadstone and what happened to it, or if it is still there, please, please, please comment below, because I can find no trace of it whatsoever on the internet. I've been on the Gloucester Diocese website. It doesn't mention Breadstone at all. There's no reference to it being demolished, no news article, just nothing. Just a couple of photographs on the Geograph website showing you what it used to look like, or still does if it is there, but I can't find it. So I'll leave that mystery with you there. Of course, no church meant that I turned up on the banks of the River Severn with nothing to film, with an afternoon to spare down there. So I thought, what can I do next? I was very aware of the fact that Breadstone is close to Purton. Now, I remembered Purton because I'd cycled around that area. I know I mentioned cycling a lot in my youth, but I'd actually cycled there with my mum. I went to, my mum is actually from the Slimbridge area originally, and yet, which of course is now famous for Sir Peter Scott's Wildlife and Wetlands Trust, which we've spoken about before. And I was aware of these barges on the River Severn. I hadn't seen them before, but although many years since I'd been there, and I was aware that they'd been appeared on many videos, and one of the videos I've seen of it, a gentleman called Jono, Journeys with Jono, who I found from another YouTuber, the Narrowboat Experience. And Narrowboat Experience, two girls that were on, two ladies should I say, on the canals up around the country. And Journeys with Jono was a guy on his own also making videos about his Narrowboat Experience. Sadly, both those channels aren't producing content at the moment. Hopefully they will again at some point, but they were cracking channels, cracking channels. You can go back and look. I'll drop links into those websites. But anyway, Journeys with Jono, he did one on the barges. It's been done many times before. So I thought, if I'm doing the barges, I need to do it in a bit of a different way. There's no point just turning up there and just doing pieces to camera, or just colour video footage of it, because there's so many other videos like that. So I thought, if I'm to make any use of my afternoon at all, I need to go back to doing some monochrome photography, because I've got settings on my digital camera. So if you take in monochrome, you can adjust the settings, you can put filters. In the analogue days, when we had analogue film cameras, you would put on various coloured filters on front of the lens, like red, green, yellow, to bring out different shades and also to make the skies look more dramatic. So I was playing around with the digital versions of those, changing the settings to make the white fluffy clouds appear more dramatic, and getting some low angle shots of the boats, and also trying to make it as grainy as possible without it appearing too bitty, to pick out the wood grain on the boat. So that was the objective. So I don't know how many shots I took, maybe 50, 60, maybe a few more, and I probably used about 30 or so of them. And yeah, so that's what you see on my channel there. Of that was the end result. So just stuck some music on it, and hopefully what I was trying to do was, rather it being an instructional video about the history of the barges, I was trying to create the feeling, the sense of place. If you do go there, and if you do come to this part of the world, I strongly urge that you do visit those barges. Yeah, there is a real sense of feeling, of atmosphere, and that's not always conveyed through a straight video. So I hope I did try and convey a bit of atmosphere to what that place is like. Yeah, the boat graveyard, and so I was glad I went there in the end. So it wasn't an entirely wasted afternoon. But yeah, if you do have any news on Breadstone, it's missing church, please let me know. Yeah, 3 horses sheltering from the sun there. It is cooler today, but I think they're being bothered by the old dreadful horse flies, which must be so infuriating for horses in the summer. Just so annoying. I just can't imagine what that's like. It's bad enough for me as a walker. I'm not outside all the time. I can go back and or get out the shade or in a different place to get rid of them, but it's not so easy for a horse. But yeah, terrific. So I think we're about 3/4 of a mile from Stanton. I've not been to Stanton before. I've seen some photographs of it, and so yeah, we'll explore that together. So what I'll do is I'll take some photographs, colour photographs, not monochrome this time, because it's a bright Cotswold stone place. So yeah, so that should be good. I'll do that. I'll do a little bit of photo montage with music of Stanton, and then we'll continue our journey on to Broadway. What I'll do is show you bits around the town there, just bearing in mind that Broadway, I won't be able to do many pieces to camera there because it's going to be busy. I just know it's going to be busy. Oh, the other thing to mention is that Broadway, slight quote, most of the this northern section of the Cotswold Way lies in Gloucestershire. I think I've mentioned before, not all of the Cotswolds is in Gloucestershire. It also covers Wiltshire, Warwickshire, Oxfordshire, and South Gloucestershire, and Baines, and I'll mention Baines later on, what on earth that means. Yeah, but where we're going to today, Broadway, actually lies in Worcestershire, which of course we have covered before when we went to that wonderful little village of Elmley Castle. Sign, could just see the top of the spire at Stanton ahead of me, so shouldn't be too long before there. But while we're waiting to get to Stanton, I'm walking through just to tell you about what's coming up on West Country Wanderings, what we got on the channel coming up. Well, obviously we're continuing on with the Cotswold Way, that's going to happen, but also there's lots of content I've got in mind. One of them I'm going to do, it's going to be one called A Tale of Two Bridges, and I'm going to catch the train to a place in Wales called Chepstow, right on the English border, right on the border with Gloucestershire in fact. Has a good train service. I thought I'd catch a train down to Chepstow. No, I'm not covering the two motorway bridges, the M4 and the M48. That's not very scenic, or not, it's quite noisy. There are two other bridges, not crossing the Severn, but crossing the Wye. So yeah, that'll be coming up. If you don't know about that, you'll probably find that quite interesting, hopefully anyway. So if you like bridges, old bridges, and its modern comparison, you might find that interesting. So yeah, that's coming up. I'm also going to be doing a Cotswold town, which is, well, it's in a county called South Gloucestershire. Just to give you a little bit of background, if you're not familiar with this area, what on earth is South Gloucestershire? Does that mean it's south part of Gloucestershire? Well, no, it's actually a separate county entirely, sort of. It's an administrative district. There used to be a county formed in the early 1970s, 73 I think, if my memory serves, called Avon, which ran from the southern parts of Gloucestershire and went on to include Bristol, Bath, and then way down into Somerset, Weston-super-Mare and beyond. That county is now completely defunct, doesn't exist anymore. But the northern part of it that lies between the southern border of Gloucestershire and Bristol and Bath, if you're with me, that's a separate county called South Gloucestershire. I think the administrative part of that is Thornbury. Thornbury and Yate are the two biggest towns in South Gloucestershire. But it also lies within the Cotswolds, and we'll be seeing more of that when we do our walk south towards Bath. But yeah, I found this town. I haven't been there yet, I've never been there. Kind of not really heard of it, which is surprising for a Cotswold town. It just seems to be hidden. I'm thinking of doing this one early, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. But look out for that. Interesting Cotswold town. What I do know is that it has one main wide high street, and every single building on that high street is more than 100 years old, not one. So it's completely unspoilt. Has been used on a number of TV film dramas. I'll tell you more about it. I hope you find that one interesting. So that's coming up. I've also got the Malverns coming up, and indeed Droitwich, when I want to explore that church. I also want to explore a church near the banks of the River Severn as well. I've just been waiting for that one to open, because that's stunning. Inside that church is just breathtaking, so I want to do a piece on that. So, and there'll probably be a railway one and another canal one thrown in amongst all that as well. So we'll have railways, we'll have canals, we'll have bridges, and we'll have churches. So there'll be quite a bit of variety there. Oh, and a Cotswold town. So lots of things coming up. I've done a list of loads of other places I want to cover. So there'll still be the Cotswold Way. Obviously, we'll be working our way south, not too far away, and I'll be throwing in lots of other content as well. So if that sounds your sort of thing, you don't currently subscribe to my channel, please consider a subscribe, and again, if you hit the bell, YouTube will let you know when all that content uploads on my channel. Interesting mounds in the field that I'm crossing over the moment. There we go, we're going up and down. Are these pillow mounds? I think we came across them when we were going, where were we? Painswick, Edge, that area. They were pillow mounds, and found out they were to do with breeding rabbits, rabbits being an important food many years ago. I'm not sure if they're pillow mounds or whether they're part of an older ancient field system. I will find out. I'll have a look at the OS map, or do a search, see if I can find out what these are. Maybe it's an old drainage system, I'm not sure, and I'll drop a subtitle in below. Well, that was a beautiful village, wasn't it? I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I've not been to Stanton before. Really impressed with that. Nice, quiet. It's not a discovered Cotswold village. It's very quiet. It's not like likes of Bolton on the Water and Lower Slaughter. Beautiful that those places are, but they do tend to get a little bit overrun with too many people, which I've spoken about before. Yeah, the other thing I was going to mention was in terms of mileage, kilometres in fact. I did the OS map drawing late last night, planning the route just to finalise everything. I think the mileage from Stanway, where we left this morning at 9 o'clock, to Broadway is just shy of 11 kilometres. So I'll put the exact figures and what that is in old money underneath. And of course I've got to get back to Stanway, of course, so we're looking at 22 kilometres today's walking. What's that? Probably about 14-15 miles. The other thing to mention though about our route back, which isn't really part of the vlog, but I'm going to stick it on anyway, because obviously the main part of the vlog is getting to Broadway, because that's a Cotswold Way. But obviously I need to get back to my vehicle, to my transport, to get back home. And there is an alternative route. Been looking. It goes through a village, well, a couple of villages. The second one name escapes me at the moment, but the first one is called Buckland. That looks interesting. In fact, it was on the finger post I just seen. So I will go that way back and add that on the end of the video, so you know it's not part of the Cotswold Way directly, but you can do a diversion or an alternative route. It's not marked as an official blue alternative route like we've mentioned before, but it is an option if you want to go that way. So it's worth looking at the OS maps before you start your journey here on the Cotswold Way. Starting to climb now since we've left Stanton. Gone through a couple of small woods, and we are going back up the old Cotswold Escarpment bank. In fact, I think I'll be missing this out if I come back through via Buckland, so it'll be a bit of a flatter route. But of course you need to climb to get the views. If you want stunning views, you've got to put the effort in. Yeah, we're just ascending Shenbarrow Hill at the moment. A couple of things, just had a quick look at the OS map. Just over that way, over that bank there used to be an ancient settlement. Don't know how old, probably Iron Age, but if I get some more information I'll drop that the usual way. It also says something about Shenbarrow buildings. I've no idea what that means. When I get to the top of the hill, if I find anything, I'll put it on here. We're now at the top of Shenbarrow Hill, and the farm buildings of Shenbarrow, just previously mentioned, are just behind me. Got a wonderful view across the escarpment. Also, terrific meadow. So I think this is the site of the settlement that I just previously spoke about. But yeah, I just wanted to share this view with you before I rejoin the Cotswold Way. Yeah, so we've reached the top of Shenbarrow Hill, and yeah, it feels like a sense of achievement. Views have opened up. Flatter now we're at the top. Certainly breezier, though I got pretty warm climbing up there. It's quite steep. I don't know how many metres we've climbed since leaving Stanton Village. I will look at the OS map, do a calculation and drop that below. But it's great up here. Yeah, it's nice, feeling fresh, and not sure what the temperature is actually. It's a bit difficult because it's quite breezy. I'm guessing it's probably about 19 degrees maybe slightly warmer, I don't know. It's certainly a lot cooler than it was when I was doing the walk around Hales Abbey. It's more walking weather, shall we say. There's Breedon Hill again, and we were just to the right of that hill the other day when we were at the delightful village of Elmley Castle. And just to the left of Breeden Hill, of course, is the Malverns, which we've been following all the way since we left Far West Strip Farm. Have been a constant companion on our walk. The strange thing about the Malverns is that as we've been walking further north, they don't appear to have got any closer. In fact, they look the same distance away as when I started the walk, which is really strange. Which think shadows, they obviously accompany you all the time. Well, when the sun's out anyway. But you can measure the time of the year by looking at your shadow. And I was just looking at my own shadow there. We're now heading unbelievably towards the end of July already. And I can now see that my shadow has lengthened because we're heading up to midday, and it has lengthened since early to mid-June, and that's what 6-7 weeks ago. So noticeable change. And obviously as you get into the winter months on a sunny day, you have those incredibly long shadows, and obviously they lengthen towards the end of the day as well. But yeah, it's interesting just to compare shadow length throughout the year. Very pleasing landscape on the top of Shemborough Hill here. That's a mouthful. Just that side we have a wood. I don't know the name of it, but I'll drop that in the usual way again. And we've got this beautiful meadow which is in a dip, and again I don't know if that's an ancient field system or an ancient settlement, and I believe it is just by looking at it. And it's great to see that it hasn't been ploughed, and it's been left fallow, which is absolutely delightful, and makes this wonderful walking country along this track here. We've walked along the top plateau of Shemborough Hill. Now we seem to be heading downhill, at least for a little bit anyway. I'm not sure we're ready to full descent to do Broadway. After Broadway, which will be vlog number 10, our final one on the northern section, we'll be continuing to up to Chipping Camden. I'm not sure how I'm doing this one yet. How I'm getting there, getting back. I'm playing around with a few ideas at the moment, so you'll have to watch this space. But yeah, in terms of hills, the main attraction coming out of Broadway, you have a very steep hill on the main road. Is it the A44? Not sure. I'll drop that in. Goes up a steep hill called Fish Hill to reach Broadway Tower and Broadway Country Park. Wonderful spot. But I've not actually been. I've been to the park, but I don't think I've been to the tower ever. But it's along with Devil's Chimney back at Leckhampton Hill, it's one of the landmarks of the Cotswold Way, Broadway Tower. So we'll look at that. There's also Dover's Hill, which is between Broadway Tower and Chipping Camden, and again that should give us good views across the escarpment. But watch your space to see how that one plays out over the next week or two. Views across. Wow, it's getting a bit breezy. Hold on until old Hattie, I'll put the strap on if it gets any breezier. That was a disused quarry I just showed you there. In terms of the views, this is where I could have done with my tripod in a sheltered spot, that is. Put the old telephoto lens on. But I believe you can see both the Clee Hills and the Clent Hills. I'm going to get this the wrong way round, I'm sure I am. Now I'm sure I've been up Clee Hill, which is singular, not plural, which is where the counties of, now let me get this right, Herefordshire Worcestershire and Shropshire all meet. I remember staying a wonderful Worcestershire town, highly recommend it, called Tenbury Wells. It's up in the far northwest corner of Worcestershire, but it still comes under Malvern Hills district, but it's a delightful spot, and just not far from there is Clee Hill. It's our first distance shot of Broadway Tower, which we'll be climbing up to in the next vlog. I'm not sure if it'll be open when we go up there, or what the access restrictions are like to climb the tower at the moment, but we'll see. I can't remember how many counters you're supposed to see from the top of Broadway Tower. I know it's a lot. It's probably somewhere between 16 and 19 or so, and obviously it changes when they change county boundaries around, but I'm not sure what the current exact number of counters is, you can see, but it's pretty extensive. First glimpse of the village of Broadway is just coming right ahead. Now that's where we'll be heading off to the right there on the return journey. That takes you down to the village of Buckland, but Broadway continues directly ahead of me. Action of horses and foals just in front, so I'll just grab a shot of that for you here. So we're heading away from the escarpment now, just on this farm track at the moment. Just do a pan around as well. We've got Broadway Tower. Just drop that clip in there. So we see that. I can't quite believe be walking up there next time. Doesn't seem quite real, but we will be. Yeah, so we're heading down along the Vale of Evesham now. So we've flattened out from we were at top at Shemborough Hill. We're following the Vale of Evesham towards the town of Broadway, which will be with you shortly. What I'll do is I'll probably be limited to do pieces to camera. Obviously I'll do a final piece to camera there. Just a goodbye on this vlog, but I'll probably do some photographs and set that to music and drop in some subtitles just to show you the important buildings around this wonderful town here in the Cotswolds. Currently at the Badsey Brook Risk Flood Management Defence Scheme. That's a mouthful, isn't it? We're about 3/4 mile before entering the village of Broadway. I must stop calling it a town. It is a village, not a town. On the edge of Broadway here, and it's to protect the 300 homes at Broadway and also the neighbouring village of Childswickham across the Badsey Valley, to protect it from flood damage. They provided some extra seats here, wonderful new seats. I give them 9 out of 10 actually. I think they're pristine condition, and some good bit of tree planting, so I'll just show you quickly around. Before we enter Broadway, I will just tell you what it says in my Cicerone guide about the village here in the Cotswolds. I know it's going to be very busy there, and I'm just going to do photographs, I'm afraid, because it'll be really difficult doing pieces to camera. So yeah, just tell you a little bit about it. I haven't got my Richard Sale guide with me, which goes more in depth on the history of places. If I find some more snippets about Broadway, I'll add them in either as a voiceover or subtitle, but I'll just read you what it says about the village of Broadway. The quintessential Cotswold village, Broadway is much larger than Stanton and lined with handsome shops, cottages and hotels on a wide street, hence its name. It is said to have been discovered by one William Morris. We'll come across William Morris numerous times on West Country Wanderings. More about that. I'm not going to mention more about him at the moment, but he brought with him lots of artists to this wonderful, delightful Cotswold village, and from then its fame grew across the country and indeed across the world. The village grew in importance during the era by stagecoach by providing accommodation for the coaches before they made the big ascent up Fish Hill towards Broadway Tower, which we'll see that on the final vlog here heading north. And of course today those stagecoaches have been replaced, unfortunately, by lots of cars and traffic. But without the traffic, the village is an absolute gem, and I think the best time to visit Broadway is either out of season or early in the morning or late on a summer's evening. Unfortunately, when you're walking you can't really time that, so it makes it quite tricksy to do that. But if I've got any more facts about Broadway, I'll drop them in hereabouts. Well, welcome to Broadway. I've just come around the side of the church. We're going to have a look at the church at the moment. Then I'll grab some lunch and do a photo montage with some music. I know it's going to be very, very busy, so I won't be able to do any pieces to camera in the village itself. Anyway, hope you enjoy it. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour of Broadway, and indeed our tour here, number 9 on the Cotswold Way, which took us from Stanway to Broadway. However, if you stick around, you'll find some extra content, so it's not all over yet. I will say goodbye for now. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider a like, a subscribe, a comment, or perhaps a share. Be really appreciated if you could do that. Anyway, until next time, next few days, it'll be our final journey north on the Cotswold Way before I continue our journey south when we head up to the final destination north, which is the lovely Cotswold town of Chipping Campden. Until next time, take care of yourselves. All the best. Bye bye. Time for Name That Tree. We're currently at the combined village hall of Buckland and Laverton, but we're actually in the village of Laverton. I've just taken a couple of shots at both the villages, and we're here outside the village hall, and we have this. You'll probably guess what this is. This one up here, and I've done some shots so you can see. I've done another example as well at Buckland, which is just coming into flower. And these are commonly grown around churchyards. In fact, when we went to through Painswick, I mentioned about the 99 yew trees that were there. In fact, I think there's 101 now. I won't go into all that again. But yeah, so there's they're commonly around churchyards, and you often see them dotted around villages. This particular example, as you can see, has been very neatly clipped, as is often the way if they're in cultivated areas. You don't tend to see them in deep woodland. It tends to be in communal areas for community. So yeah, this tree is a yew tree, and I'll just pop in some clips there as to why it's a yew tree, what makes it different to other fir trees in the group, and how you can spot it when it's in flower, because it has those distinctive red berries, which once you see those, you know it's yew, and you can't mistake it for any other type of variety. The only other thing to add, there is another variant of a yew tree, and I'll drop the name below here somewhere, and that one has orange berries, and it's a slightly rarer species of the yew tree family.